If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Sports Media Superstar Competition. Andrew, give us 5 great minutes of sports radio. Go for it.
Will do. As Nestor said, I am Andrew Bronstein, and this is WNST. First of all, big shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for supporting the Baltimore Sports Media Superstar Contest. As I said, I'm a huge Orioles fan, and I have been lucky enough to grow up in the days when the Orioles were not losing for 14 years in a row. My very first experience at an Orioles game was in April of 1992, when, of course, they opened the beautiful Camden Yards. Now, I remember sitting up in the upper deck in left field, staring down at a guy wearing number 9 with Anderson written across his back, and I could just barely make out his sideburns, and, of course, that's Brady. First game I ever went to, April of 92, as I said, it was against the Detroit Tigers. Big Ben McDonald got the start. And we won 4-1 on a grand slam home run by Jeff Tackett, the backup catcher. And right then, I was hooked. I mean, I had already loved baseball, but that's when I became an Oriole fan for life. And I'll tell you, it was tough going through the, from 97 was our last winning season up until a couple of years ago. 14 years, it makes it difficult. And I remember, back when we had guys like Cal, in the lineup that everybody just loved and respected and adored, and everybody wanted to be Cal. We sold out Camden Yards. I mean, the stadium holds 47,000 people, and every night there were 47,000 people showing up. And it really bothers me that now we can't get that many to show up. And even the players notice. Adam Jones has been noted to go up to Richie Bancells, who of course is the trainer for the Orioles and was the trainer for the Orioles back in the heydays when Camden Yards was first brand new. And Adam Jones, he had heard of Orioles magic, but he had never gotten a chance to experience it until the last couple of years. And he would go up to Richie Bancells, and after every game that he thought that the fans were energized enough, he would ask Richie Bancells, "Was this what it was like back in the 90s?" And Richie Bancells would just shake his head and say, "No, that wasn't it." And so the next game would happen, and Adam would feel that the fans are more energized and more into it. And he would ask Richie Bancells, "What about this? How about, was this how it was in the 90s?" And again, Richie Bancells would say no. And it wasn't until September 6th of 2012 when the Orioles just demolished the Yankees on the Cal Ripken Jr. statue night, because of course it was the anniversary of the day that Cal Ripken broke Lou Gehrig's streak. At that point, the Orioles hit 6 home runs that game, and they beat the Yankees. I believe it was 12-6 or something along those lines. And you could not hear. I was lucky enough to be in the stands. You could not hear anything throughout the entire game, from the first pitch to the last out. It was just the Orioles fans just screaming, and it was great because unlike so many games against the Yankees and the Red Sox lately, there weren't fans of the opposing team, at least that you could hear. Everybody was chanting for the Orioles and yelling at the Yankees players, and it was great. And Adam Jones turned to Richie Bancells, and before he could even open his mouth, Richie Bancells just looked at him, gave him a nod of approval, and he said, "This is what it was like back in the 90s when the Orioles were winning and when the stadium was full of Orioles magic." And so I call on you, the fans, to get back to Camden Yards. I'm not the biggest fan of Peter Angelos, and I'm not the biggest fan of supporting Peter Angelos, but I am a gigantic Orioles fan, and I am a gigantic fan of supporting the Orioles and supporting your team. And while we may not we may have differing opinions on Peter Angelos, I can tell you that I trust in Buck Showalter and I trust in Dan Duquette. And there's nothing that gets me down and more disheartened than seeing, the Red Sox fans take over Camden Yards. This should not be called Fenway South. This is Oriole Park at Camden Yards. This is not Yankee Stadium South. This is Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And it even broke my heart back in 2007 when the Rays, this was the year before they reached the World Series, when they were 60, they were a 60-win team. The Rays fans outsold the Orioles fans at Camden Yards. I went to a doubleheader that season against the Rays. For $1, I got an upper reserve ticket, and I still was outnumbered by Rays fans. And so, Orioles fans, I've got to plead to you, support your team. We know that this is a great sports city. Just look at the Ravens. We had people climbing into the stadium to get in, to celebrate our Super Bowl victory. We need to do the same thing with the Orioles. All right, show the team the love, and we shouldn't have the chance to be upstaged by Red Sox or Yankees or any other team's fans. All right, this is Orioles country. This is Orioles baseball. Wild Bill Hagee. Make Wild Bill Hagee proud. And I'm going to make Wild Bill Hagee proud right now by ending with an ORIOLES. Orioles. Thank you, WNST. Thank you, WNST.net. Thank you, Buffalo Wild Wings, for supporting this segment. And thank you, Nestor.
And you are?
I am Andrew Bronstein.
There he is. All right. Good work.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.